Testing, testing. One, two, three. I'm just gonna give it a couple of minutes, see if anybody, see how many people we can file in here real quick, and yeah. Can anybody hear me? All right. It seems I had myself muted on my other PC, so looks like the sound test is working good. Just give it a couple more minutes, and I'll get the story and everything set up. We'll be good to go. All right. It seems. All right. So, welcome everybody to the first live reading of Cleaving Thought from Bone. Cleaving Thought from Bone. Excuse me if I'm stuttering. Right. Ooh, looks like we got a little reverb on the tower PC. Sorry about that. One of those unexpected technical difficulties. But anyways, if I screw up a lot of times, just like that, I do apologize in advance. Also apologize for any dogs barking, doors opening, all that kind of stuff. Hello, everybody. Hi, Gothic. Hi, Kim. Hi, Tiffany. Hi, Thomas Douglas. Hello. I'm gonna mess this up. Enemiotome. Enemiotome. I'm sure that I severely butchered that, but yeah. Hello. All right. I'm gonna take one more hit off my vape, and I'm gonna go ahead and begin the story. And there's Aubrey Epicel, my lovely wife. Hello. Sexy grandma. Hello. All right. Flutters by L.W.Suton. Have you ever had a fluttering under your eyeball? It's like when the eye excuse me. It's like when the eyelid under the eye begins to twitch uncontrollably. If you look into the topic, you'll find that the most frequent causes are said to be stress, alcohol abuse, and excessive amounts of time spent staring at a screen or monitor. Although these are the most common causes of this phenomenon, others exist as well. John was spending the day with his family at the local recreational park. Swimming, hiking, and battling flying insects filled the day as typical outdoor activities. John and his son had just finished going for a dip in the nearby lake before throwing a football and chasing each other back and forth underneath the midday sun. He made sure to reapply his bug spray as John had a strong distaste for the creepy crawlies. It was a typical summer day, with the sun shining, birds singing, and trees swaying in an almost unnoticeable gentle breeze. "Throw it, Dad, I'll catch it," exclaimed Richie, John's 12-year-old son, from the other end of the sprawling Meadow Lake field. John lifted his arm to toss the oblong inflated ball, but before he could initiate his throw, he paused to swat the bugs swarming his face. "Boy, these gnats are terrible today," he proclaimed, before raising his hand above his head and throwing the football to his son across the field with the considerable effort that was needed to breach the gap between them. The ball sailed through the air with an iconic spiral, slipping just between Richie's fingers and bouncing into the tree line behind him. "Ugh, I almost had it," Richie scolded himself as he turned to retrieve the ball. He ventured into the woodline, located the football, and walked back into the clearing of the field. As he emerged from the trees, Richie saw his father gently rubbing his face as if trying to wipe sweat from around his nose and eyebrows. "Come on, guys, it's time to eat some lunch," exclaimed Molly, John's wife, from near the picnic tables. The father motioned for his son to join him, and the pair proceeded to unite with their mother/wife for an enjoyable summer picnic. My name is Jim, and I suppose I first noticed something was wrong the day before the incident, but I shrugged it off as nothing that seemed all that unusual. I had stepped into the break room of our firm for a halftime cup of coffee as I walked over to the coffee pot and began to pour the steaming black liquid into a ceramic #1 dad mug. I noticed John with his back turned to me, facing the wall. He seemed to be checking his face in a window-sized mirror. "Hey, John, getting gussied up?" Although he did not turn around to meet my gaze, he replied back with, "No, just checking something." "What'd you think of the morning meeting?" I asked, but this time he did not reply to my inquiry. When he did reply, he turned around and said, "Do you see anything wrong with my eye?" "No," I said. "Why?" "I've been having one of those damn eye flutters for the past 3 days, and now I think I'm going blind in my right eye." "Let me see," I said, as if I was qualified to make any kind of accurate analysis. I opened, excuse me, He opened his eyes, and I stared deep into his pupils and surrounding ocular areas. "I don't see anything." "It's like my vision is starting to go blurry in that eye, like it's getting darker," he said. "If it doesn't clear up, make an appointment with the doctor, man," I told him. He nodded in agreement and turned to leave. "Hey, are we still on for lunch tomorrow?" I asked. He turned and once again nodded in agreement. I then grabbed my steaming mug and proceeded back to my office to finish the day's labors. The following day, I walked. Wow, excuse me. That's why we drink. Sometimes have water nearby. The following day, I walked down Quail Street towards a little dive known as Perello's. The food was halfway decent, as long as you don't order the fish. And whoa, the coffee isn't too great either, let me tell you. I pushed the doors open, and before I could be seated, I spied John in a corner booth by the restroom corridor. John looked over at me and motioned for me to join him. As I got closer, I noticed something was wrong. John's eye seemed to contain a pinkish hue and was nearly only half open. I sat down across the table from him and proceeded to immediately ask, "Did you happen to make your appointment? Your eye looks pretty bad." He looked at me the best he could and replied, "Yeah, I have an appointment tomorrow." Um, Maybe you should go to the ER. It looks a lot worse than yesterday." I acknowledged my He acknowledged my observation and stated that it had only begun to get this bad within the past few hours and that he may take my advice after lunch and head to St. Peter's emergency room. I told him that would probably be a good idea and picked up my menu. Honestly, I don't know why I did. I ordered the same thing every Friday: a Reuben with a side of fries and one terrible cup of coffee. The waitress came and went, taking our orders to the back to be cooked by the chef. While we waited, John and I talked about little stuff like the weather, the news, work. Before long, the coffee and food were placed in front of both of us. I with my sandwich and John with his usual, a bowl of clam chowder. We began to dig in, continuing our conversation regarding yesterday's meeting. Excuse me. We began to dig in, continuing our conversation regarding yesterday's meeting, when I noticed something very wrong. John, what's that? I asked. As he looked at me, I could see it better. What's what? He retorted. Your eye. It's got something white in it. As he pried his lid half open to investigate, a small white object fell from his eye and landed in his chowder. The both of us stared intently, trying to locate the white object within the white meal. It didn't take long to spot, however, because it was the only thing in the bowl, wriggling and squirming around. Oh my God, John exclaimed as he gawked in horror at the tiny white worm struggling in his lunch. Before I had time to say a word, John shot to the restroom, slammed the door, and locked the bolt of the doorknob. I sat there for a while, figuring he had to vomit or something. John stared into the mirror. He peeled his lower lid from his ocular orbit, and what he saw delivered a shocking terror he hadn't ever. and what he saw delivered a shocking terror he had never known until then. There, between his eye and his eyelid, resided a small colony of writhing maggots. He tried to stick his fingers in to pull them out, but all he was able to accomplish was to present himself with blinding pain and induce tearing. Panic now started to set in. Something. He needed something to dig them out with. Nothing in his pockets. Then the thought hit him like he should have known it all along. John raised his fist and struck the mirror in front of him. The glass shattered and was heard throughout the restaurant, but because the door was locked, neither the staff nor myself were able to open it. John could hear the pounding and the shouting questions coming from the other side of the door, but he paid no attention. All he could focus on was those wretched creatures wriggling around in his eyeball. John reached into the sink and grasped a piece of glass and, excuse me, John reached into the sink and grasped a piece of glass with his right hand and pulled at his eyelid with his left. As he pressed the jagged shard under his eye, he began to scrape back and forth while releasing gut-wrenching shouts of pain and anguish. But it didn't matter. He had to get them out. He continued to scrape the border of his ocular orbit until he could feel the glossy sphere start to dislodge from place. The pain was overwhelming, and John was struggling to stay alert. Blood oozed and spurted from his face, spilling onto his clothes and all over the tile floor. Dancing around and screaming in pain, John regained his composure and grasped the eyeball with his right hand and lifted the glass shard with his left. However, before John was able to sever the optic nerve, the slick of blood beneath his dress shoes propelled him forward to the floor, face first, into the tile. It was only a few minutes that had gone by, but it felt like an hour. The screaming from the other side of the door had stopped as the chamber beyond held an eerie silence. Finally, one of the employees was able to release the lock from the door with a credit card. As we entered, we were greeted with a gruesome scene. The scent of urinal cakes and copper filled the air. Blood covered the floor and most of the walls, like the room was painted this way. Broken glass resided within the sink and was scattered about the floor, mixed with the blood. In the center of the floor, on the tiles in front of the broken mirror, rested John's body, like someone had tossed it, like a limp sack of oranges. Beneath his motionless body was a thick, ever-spreading pool of blood. I don't know why, but I watched as the chef turned him over onto his back. I'll never forget what I saw. John's eye was hanging loose from its socket by a strand of muscle fiber and rested on his cheek. A piece of glass was pushed deep into the socket, presumably into his brain. Finally, I could see the maggot still clinging to the glossy, hanging sphere, some falling to the floor. I decided to stay home from work the following day. But as I have the paper delivered to my house, I read the news with the morning's cup of coffee. Disturbing incident, Perello's restaurant, the article displayed. I read the story intently. The coroner had issued a statement. Apparently, and actually, an event that occurs quite frequently, a gnat had decided to hide its spawn in John's right eye. Well, everybody, that was Flutters. And again, I do apologize for the 6 to 12, 14 million times I screwed up, but I hope you liked the story. And thanks for joining me. And now I'm happy to answer any questions, talk about about the channel, and got to get a drink. All right, so we got three thumbs up. I actually have not been reading comments as I was reading the story, so if anybody said anything, epiphany like, I mean, please go ahead and repost it. I'll probably actually have to rewatch this myself after it's published up on the channel page as a past live stream so I can look at the chat. Yeah, I guess it is one of those quote unquote appetizing stories. The maggot in the white chowder seems to get to everybody. Hi, Den. Glad you could make it. Sorry the story's over already. Not sure how long it's been. About 17 minutes. Yeah, I think it's been about 17 minutes. Um, Probably started about 3, 4 after, so it's about a 12-minute read. It was one of my shorter ones. This was kind of like a test run to see how everybody would react to me screwing up multiple times, and then go from there. Maybe I'll do something longer. Do have plans in the works. Oh, that's okay, Den. It's gonna be uploaded on the channel, so you can re-listen to all the madness of me messing up throughout the story. But yeah, it'll be there. But I do have some future plans as well for the channel or for the live stream part of it. I've talked to a few other narrators about it, and they seem to be pretty much on board. I don't want to divulge that right now, but expect a pretty cool stream in the future. Maybe 3 or 4 months from now. We are going to do this once a month, but 3 to 4 months from now, I got a pretty big idea. FGS. Yeah, I'm glad you found me again too. It's always nice to see a familiar face from my other channel that finds me, here. It's been happening obviously just about daily, and it's been pretty cool. But yeah, I also I guess while I have everybody's attention, or not everybody right now, I'm sure there'll be more than whoever's watching it right now. People will probably watch this in the future. I've been getting a lot of questions about my old channel and some of my old stories and stuff like that. So I'm just going to address those real quick for any future listeners. But my old channel was deleted due to copyright issues. There is a video on my channel entitled Dirty Laundry that goes into the whole thing and explains exactly what happened. Yes, all my old stories will be reappearing here, except for ones that are not monetizable, such as Slenderman stories, Disney stories, and yes, the 1999 stories will not make a return either. So again, just want to put that out there. Oh, and as far as the 13 days of Halloween, I know I touched on this in my last live stream, but I will not be doing a 13 days of Halloween this year because I just do not have 13 original stories to deliver 13 days in a row. And if I did, I wouldn't have 13 stories next year, Halloween related content. So that won't happen. But I will be doing Halloween related stories throughout the month of October. And then there will be a October 31st Halloween special that gets uploaded just like every year. That'll stay the same. No, you can't hide from your fans and your true followers, Thomas. That's for sure. And I don't want to hide, so hiding right out in the open. And I'm not sure how many of you noticed it as well. But Doughboy 420, my one of my co-writers, one of the main co-writers on the channel, he has created a website, Thought from Bone. There is a link in the description of every one of the main Saturday videos. Doesn't matter what happens here on YouTube. The video platform that I use for that website is not YouTube. So even if something happens here on YouTube, all my videos will still be available on that website. There's little blurbs about all the authors and stuff like that. I actually got to get Mark Selby and Hillbilly Creeper and stuff like that to send me a little something about themselves so we can get that published. Everything that you hear here on the channel, as soon as it's uploaded for the first time here, it goes up on that website, and so does the text version. So if you wanted to read The Devil's Punch Bowl for yourself, or Stony Heart of the Black Woods, that's all up there as well. And if you're ever confused about the Locust Lake timeline, where the stories fall, that kind of stuff, there's a whole Locust Lake side tab that's, I mean, Doughboy's been just doing incredible things with it. And if something ever happens here, there will be a live page that gets implemented onto that website, and I will just be continuing my channel there. So make sure you bookmark that page as kind of like an insurance policy. No, hey Lori, you're here, and well, it's an hour later, and there's no such thing as screwing up. You can't screw up. You can enjoy my content whenever you're available. But it is nice to see you here, live, in the group with us all. That's great. This is an hour later as well. Just remember that tomorrow's premiere will be starting an hour before this live stream started. So it was 9 o'clock here today when this started, so it'll be 8 o'clock tomorrow where I am when we do the premiere of The Drowned Boy. And you don't want to miss that one. That one's got Tales to Chill to the Bone, Dark Resonant, and Grim Tale Brothers, and Doughboy 420 all playing parts in that story. So it is a collaboration story. It is actually the first time I've ever done The Drowned Boy as a collaboration story. So and it came out really well. I'm very happy with how this version came out. I will say that at least so far it is the definitive version. I really don't see it getting too much better. It is the cleanest version of it I put up so far. So I hope everybody will enjoy it tomorrow. Yeah, I can't wait for it either. I've already got my bag of popcorn ready to be popped in the microwave, set to go. So, about 7:30 or so, I'll get that going, and maybe break out a beer or soda, and I'll meet all you guys here probably about 7:30. I'll actually probably show up about 7 on the premiere page. So if you guys want to show up a little bit early, have a chat, whatever, I'm more than happy to sit there and text back and forth with you, talk about the channel or anything else that might be on your mind. Yeah, Thomas Douglas. I have. I haven't published all of them, but I have published 2 books. At the end of all my Saturday videos, there is a little blurb, about, if you like short stories and stuff like that, and there's links in the descriptions of all those videos to all my books. My first book, you can get a Kindle version of it on Amazon, or you can get the Audible version on the obviously Audible version on Audible. Just the narration. There is no music to it or anything like that, but it is a very clean narration of the entire book. My second book does not have a narration to it, but it does have the Kindle version to it. The first one is 9 stories long. 8 of those stories I have read before on my channel, and the last story in that book I've never narrated. It is a book exclusive. And then there's 13 stories in the second book, and again, the last story in that book is a book exclusive. It's never been narrated. So yeah, that's awesome, Laura. I'm glad that you have it. I really hope you enjoy it. Um, I know it might not be perfect. I don't have an editor or anything like that. I do pride myself pretty well on grammar, but I do miss things. So I do apologize if there is like a grammatical or, a spelling error in there, here and there or something like that. But otherwise, I do hope that the formatting and stuff like that is working out okay for you. But yeah, I'm gonna grab another quick sip off my Mountain Dew here. So if I'm silent for a few seconds, it's because I'm taking a sip and thinking of something else to talk about. Yes, Spooky, I agree. Grammarly is amazing, and I had Grammarly for my Microsoft Office when I was going to college, but now that I am no longer in college, I have not been renewing my Office 365 subscription, so I haven't had Grammarly. So, and excuse if my voice is cracking or if I sound a little bit nasally. I guess I probably should have mentioned this at the beginning of the stream, but I've been a little sick this week, so if I sound a little off, that's why. And I do apologize, but I didn't want to be like, hey guys, it's the day before the stream, but I've got to cancel. Like, I don't cancel, I don't miss uploads. Anybody who's seen my other channel knows my other channel. I am extremely consistent and reliable. So, show must go on. I actually have been feeling better. It was Wednesday. It was a rough day. And all my work days are 10 to 12-hour days. I had to close Monday, open to close, and then the same thing today, open to close. Had a job fair to do an hour away from where I work on it was a Thursday, and then I had to travel the hour back. Was only there for 2 hours. Really wasn't the best job fair. Only got like 3 interviews out of it. So now I wasn't looking for a job. I was, one of the people at the booth advertising, hey, I got jobs. Absolutely, FGS. I did mention it a little bit earlier. Don't mind mentioning it again. Yes, there is the very first video I uploaded on this channel. So if you go to the channel page and then go to my uploads playlist, the very first video, well, I guess in order because it's the newest to oldest. So the very last video on that playlist is entitled "Dirty Laundry." It'll explain the whole thing. I don't know. I guess I can go into it real quick here too as well. Basically, I read a couple of stories when I very first started narrating. This is a very short, abridged version. I didn't really know where other narrators were getting their stuff from. I was very new at narrating, and I gathered a few stories off of urbanlegendsonline.com. At least I'm pretty sure that was the website. I'd have to go and double check that. And I've actually done quite a few stories from there, and nobody's ever really had a problem. And most people that have ever had any problems with me reading their stories reach out to me first and say, hey, can you take this down, or can you credit me? And I've always been, not a problem. Apparently somebody 3.5 years later after I uploaded these videos, and by now I know where other narrators are getting their content and exactly what's what you can use, what you can't use. But fast forward 3.5 years later, when I am knowledgeable, this person must have just found that I read 3 of their stories, must have just found out back in April. I was actually out on a business trip in Colorado while this happened. I came back to my channel being basically deleted. Um, Basically he found these 3 videos, and instead of asking me anything or whatnot, take them down. And I did credit him. I put the link to the story in each one of the videos and stuff like that, and I'm not monetized, so I never made a dime off of anything. He just flat out reported all 3 videos. You just strike them all, and because of that, YouTube, with their policies, just instantly took my channel down. So then when I came back, my channel was gone. But there are a lot of pluses to this, and I did kind of go into that on my other in that other video as well, entitled Dirty Laundry, and on my last live stream back in the end of April that I did. Is now I'm sitting on basically my stories alone are about 150. I have well, at least over 100, with Doughboy about 150 stories that I'm sitting on, already written, original content that I can just upload here without anybody saying, hey, that's my story, because it's not. And I also have a few other co-writers such as Hillbilly Creeper and Mark Selby, who are also still co-writing for my channel. So I can use all their stories again too. They don't mind. I've already had that conversation with them. And so basically, I'm sitting on about 200 original stories that are already written. I'm sitting on a small library. So the goal is I'm going to be uploading all that stuff here, and now I'm going to be able to monetize my channel, and I'll be able to take some of YouTube's money. I don't want to take your money. I want to take YouTube's money. Sorry, I'm just taking a breather and reading some comments. Yeah, but in response to you, FGS, I mean, I agree that it can but maybe not. Maybe he didn't know how to get a hold of me. Maybe he's a young writer and didn't really realize, or maybe he had an agreement with, someone, hey, no one will narrate this story but you. If you're going to do that, I don't know why you would post it on a free domain where anybody can just go there and read it with their own two eyes and maybe read it out loud to their child, or possibly record themselves and put it up someplace free of charge so they're not making any money. It's just free publicity, but it still could be against somebody's contract. So I do understand maybe where they're coming from, but yeah, I agree. Would have been, you know, professional, nice. Just the decent human thing, the prudent thing to do would be to reach out to me first. So, but yeah, I was gonna see because the chat went dead. I don't know if that's because everyone is just that engrossed into what I'm saying, or if everybody's just stopped talking, or if the chat went dead. I mean, and it looks like mine little period there ended up posting. So I guess we're still good to go. If you guys have any questions for me, what the future plans of the channel, I'll try and go into that a little bit. My wife did point out like a haunted attraction where you can go and they'll, hey, Den, excellent. See, yay, there's more chat. She mentioned a haunted attraction where you go and they show you all these actual haunted areas. They take you with a guide and stuff like that. So in the future, obviously that won't be live, but I might do a little bit of recording, even if I'm not allowed. I might try and sneak a little bit of a recording, do some editing, and then throw that up on the channel as like, a haunted experience thing. And we'll see what we can do. I'm still trying to come up with new ideas, but this one was the newest, a live reading of an original story, and obviously from here they will get they'll get bigger. This is probably the shortest story that I've ever written. Excellent, and welcome back, Malcolm. I absolutely adore video games. I have a side channel after the pasta that was actually part of my other domain, lockhart370 at gmail.com. So that's my old Google account, where I can no longer access YouTube on it. So Sociopathic Pasta, all the videos and everything have been taken down. After the pasta, all those videos are still up on YouTube. I just can't access the channel to upload or anything like that. But I did have like a gaming, well, it wasn't really gaming. Like I did a lot of retro gaming videos on there, a lot of PC gaming on there. But I also uploaded, opening Christmas presents with my family, my daughter's 5th birthday party, her 6th birthday party. So, yeah, I did have a, I'm a big gamer. So absolutely. I might start a side channel with this too, but I really want to get one of those video capture boxes so I can start recording like, Switch gameplay. Been playing a lot of, Final Fantasy 7, Mortal Kombat 11, just picked that up last week. Absolutely loving it. And, obviously just keep going back to Bayonetta 1 and 2 intermittently because I absolutely adore those games. But yeah, I'm a really big gamer. I'm especially Nintendo. I'm a big Nintendo fan. My whole side of my bedroom basically is my half of the bedroom is my man cave and my wall on my side is nothing but video game posters and Super Mario Brothers 3 t-shirt and 3D picture portraits and all hockey masks that I made of all the different hockey masks from all the different Friday the 13th movies. So it's all horror in gaming in my bedroom. A lot of retro gaming and 80s horror. But yes, big Nintendo fan. Yeah, Mortal Kombat 11. By the way, if any of you guys have a Switch, let me know. I think there's a way that I can actually friend you if you just friend me on Twitter or Facebook, because I can search friends through Twitter or Facebook that have a Switch. So if you link it to your Twitter or your Facebook account, I can just search for you there. So if you have a Switch, we could play some Mario Kart or something together, or, beat each other up in Mortal Kombat. It'd be kind of fun. Sorry, my mouth keeps going a little bit dry. It's another thing I noted with this very first live reading live stream is maybe I should not partake in certain activities within 45 minutes of beginning the stream. Just putting that out there. I would, but my room is not like It's not super duper impressive. It's not huge. It's it's a bedroom um with a lot of retro gaming stuff on one side of it. I really don't wouldn't need like a walk around. I could just like take a picture. Or yeah, I guess maybe I could do like a little close up of this, close up of that. It's still such a small space that it probably wouldn't be a very long video. It's not like I have a wicked tiny room or anything. I think it's 12 by 12 or something like that. It's more with the closet, but obviously I'm not sitting in the closet. Well, yes, it is. It's at least, yeah, it's 12 feet because it's that part of the house is 14 feet wide. So the closet, yeah, takes up 2 feet. So it's 12 feet by 12 feet, 12 by 12. I am a big fan of RPGs. Just depends on the RPG. My favorite game of all time. This is what I mean. Like I do like RPGs. My favorite game, more than any other game that's ever been made to date, is Secret of Mana for the Super Nintendo by SquareSoft before they became Square Enix. That is my favorite game. Has been my favorite game since the day it came out, and nothing else has ever surpassed my love for that game. Oh no, no, no! It doesn't. That's another thing, I guess too. What does it look like? Where I'm doing my intros because I guess FGS thinks that. I mean, I'm sitting in a tent, or at least it has that appearance. So is that what it looks like? Like I'm sitting in a tent in my intros? I know there is like a little bit of like a mystery to it. Like where am I sitting? Where is this backdrop of blood coming from? Secret of Evermore is a really good game too. But I still just didn't compare to Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana, fantastic music score, fantastic everything, but the story was just that was the most epic thing to me. Loved the story in that game. Played the remake as soon as that came out on my computer. Beat it literally in a day. um, really like Secret of Mana. Yeah, I do, but I do like RPGs. But as far I don't have a PS4 unfortunately. There is only one thing that will convince me to finally break down and get a PS4, and I've been saying this since I saw the trailer for it. I don't know. I can't remember when, but it was years ago, which is the Final Fantasy VII remake, which again is an RPG. I love Final Fantasy VII. I've actually never beaten it. I'll admit it. Just got it for the Switch. Um, where am I? I'm all the way up to where you have to fight the Turks, all three of them. So I'm pretty far into the game, but I'm gonna have to go back and do some grinding because I am not strong enough to beat all three of the Turks. So, but that's where I'm at in that game. I did watch my best friend, who he's no longer with us. But back when it was out on the PlayStation 1, I watched him play that whole game beginning to end, and it's just that's one of my favorite role playing games. Before I had even played it at all, it was a pretty good game. Yeah, I mean, that is kind of what I'm going for. Now, if you're like, well, where am I intending myself to be? I don't really have an intention. I do always show like the house in the dark and, on my intros and on the channel banner. There is that creepy house in the background. That's kind of part of the scenery, I guess, the reoccurring theme. So I guess maybe in my mind, you guys would see me, maybe I'm in that house or a house that's like it, a big haunted mansion. But I think a tent works well too. And I do want to put out there, I am planning on doing like a live action intro type thing, similar to Tales from the Crypt, how they had the camera like move into the door and go down to the basement. Obviously, it's not even going to be close to that elaborate. Um, but I am planning on doing something like that and making more than just the 8 millimeter reel cleaving thought from bone at the beginning of all my videos. I want to do something trademark to the channel. I just gotta mute myself real quick because I gotta ask my wife a question that I don't want the entire live streaming community hearing. So just give me one moment. Alrighty, I am back. Sorry, private conversation. Had to do with the greenery scenery. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the Jason movies. So the fact that you kind of see it as a play on the Jason movies, like bursting through the tents, that's epic. You can certainly keep that mental picture. I'm proud to kind of hold that image. um, it's honorable to be even, associated with the man, the master. Oh, and yeah, kind of. And and yeah, you heard it, but you heard it, Dan, for sure. But I wanted you to hear it. I didn't want you to think I was like hiding a secret or, you know, muting the microphone so I could go kick my dog or something. It was just it is a benign reason. So yeah, you heard the little tappity tap. Got to knock out what's left in there before we, push it back in there again. But that's where we're at. I really hope you guys are looking forward to tomorrow's video. I know I am. Super excited, and I hope nobody that follows me on Twitter gets annoyed with all the posts like, hey, check this video out, don't forget about me tomorrow, don't forget about me today, don't forget about me next Saturday. Like, just doing my promotion thing. And if you have any suggestions about, maybe how I could approach things, if they're seeming a little bit negative or whatever, any feedback you guys want to give me, throw it down. Exactly, FGS. It's well more than 45 minutes because it was 45 minutes before 9 o'clock. So it was 8:15 last time.
Hello, everybody.
You can come say
it. Hello, everybody.
That is my youngest daughter, Zing Zing. That's not her real name. That is actually her YouTube name because she has her own YouTube channel. She's 9 years old. And hers is it's mostly gaming. A lot of Roblox, and previously Yandere Simulator, stuff like that. Yes, yes, mini psychopath. she's mini for sure. A little bit sometimes.
Do we need to tell them what we're trying to make up for?
Little bone.
Yeah.
Little bone. I like it. Malcolm, that's very funny. That's actually probably very possible. No, did Jaws? Jaws did it. American Werewolf in London did. Which, by the way, An American Werewolf in London was the very first horror movie I ever saw at 3.5 years old. And that movie got an Academy Award for the special effects. So back in the 80s when I was born, and at 3.5, which by the way I remember, terrified the living shit out of me. And I think that's what made me really like horror movies. Second horror movie I ever watched was Jaws. So, and then it was back and forth until I was like 5. Those are like the only 2 horror movies I was allowed to watch. And then next one was Friday the 13th. And but I was really into the Friday the 13th before I had ever seen one. Just always heard the kids in kindergarten talking about it. Like I said, back in the 80s, it was the buzz. So kind of grew up with Jason. Yeah, tomorrow's going to be epic. Trying to see. I can figure out where how long the video is. 28 minutes and 41 seconds. So tomorrow's video is almost a half an hour long, just about 29 minutes. The video for the weekend after, I'm not going to let you know what it is. I'll post that premiere page after tomorrow's video is done, but it is 40 minutes long, 40 minutes and 16 seconds. So a little bit longer one coming even next weekend. Oh, and by the way, not this weekend, obviously, because I am sitting here by my computer. But next weekend, I am going camping again at Locust Lake. So I guess let's hope tomorrow's story isn't a preview. Good night, Swedish Mom. Have a great night. Thank you very much for stopping in, and hope to see you at tomorrow's premiere. If not, it's cool. Just we'll be seeing you around. Thank you for being here. I'm guessing, Malcolm, you can hear my daughter over by the TV saying hello because I have the computer hooked up to my 50-inch, so she's watching everything that gets typed in, and she's very good at reading. Yeah, the old 80s zoot suits. I wear suits every day now to work, but I guess they don't. I hope they don't look that bad. Yeah, then tomorrow's video is going to be a collaboration, like I said. Um, the weekend after is also going to be a collaboration video, and that one's featuring Dr. Creepin. He's got a pretty long part in there, so I hope you guys really like that one because I absolutely love Dr. Creepin. I think he's a fantastic narrator. And the weekend after is also a collaboration story, but I'll leave that list waiting. And there is the next Locust Lake story is already cast, and most of the lines have already been sent in by the people that have been cast for the lines, and that video should be upward towards 45 to 50 minutes long. So I don't know how long that one's going to be. I still got to get all the lines back. I actually have to do my narration of my part, which is obviously the meat of the story, and then I'm sending everything over to Doughboy, who he takes care of all the audio clipping. He's apparently very proficient at it, so I'm sure I'll get that back very quickly. And then as soon as I get that back, I'll work on the sound effects and get everything whipped up, and that'll come out in the next following slot. I'm already uploaded about 2 weeks ahead, so whenever I get that whipped up, it'll be uploaded and published 2 weeks after. For me, Malcolm, the most terrifying thing I found it terrifying when I was that age was that transformation scene. It wasn't meant to be a scary transformation scene. It was a painful transformation scene, which was very much drawn out. Tortured by something that you cannot control, I guess, is the way that my brain probably understood it as a 3.5-year-old. And at that point, with no concept of torture or even immense pain or that kind of stuff, really made a lasting impression. So I think that's what really terrified me about that movie. That and a lot of the music, I guess, that was kind of contradictory a lot of the times to what was going on. And that just seemed to make everything a lot more that I was seeing, I think, more twisted. Yeah, his the suit in Jaws, I believe, was plaid, worn by the mayor. I have to go back and look. My wife would probably know that.
Which scene?
I imagine when they're standing on the beach comparing the shark fin on the billboard.
White shirt, and he's got a tie on it with anchors.
What about the suit? Was it plaid?
No, it's gray.
She said it was a gray suit, but I was assuming he had a plaid suit on at some point as well. I could be wrong about the scene, so I'll just go back.
You see that? That's sick vandalism. Now I want those paint-happy bastards hung up by their Buster Browns. It was a gray suit, white shirt, anchor tie.
And yeah, now we got her all riled up. So that's what happens when we talk Jaws in this house. The Purge movies, I don't know. I guess I like the first one. I haven't really gotten into them though. Not a whole lot of modern horror that I really enjoy. Some of it's okay, but I'm a big fan of like the 80s. 90s movies were kind of terrible, and modern ones, I mean, they're better. Don't get me wrong, modern movies are much better. Cloverfield's a really good movie. There's actually a lot of horror now that's coming out, and I guess you could call The Purge in that kind of an era. But I'm a big fan of retro horror, slasher films mostly. But the first Purge movie was pretty good. I actually haven't seen the most recent one. I think it's the first Purge. I haven't watched it yet. But yeah, Tusk was really good. I don't know if you guys saw Tusk. I liked that. We actually, yeah, we've seen quite a few good horror movies lately. But I don't know. Maybe they blend together. Hard for me to remember all the names of the titles, I suppose. But we do watch horror on a regular basis for sure. What's some other good movies that we've watched recently?
Terrifier.
Yeah, The Terrifier. Have you guys seen that?
No, just Terrifier,
Or
not the Terrifier.
See, screwing up the titles. Terrifier is clown movie. Scary fucking clown. that was a really good movie. So there are a lot of good horror coming, lots of good horror coming out now. But as of like, the 1990s and the early 2000s, like the days of House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts, like, no thanks. Like that was definitely not my kind of horror.
See, I like 13 Ghosts. I'm sorry, I disagree with you. Don't look at me like that.
See, riled up. Elvira, yes. I'm another big fan of Elvira, and obviously not for most people's reasons, I guess you could supposedly say, but big fan of the content, what it really conveyed, what it was trying to do. Same thing Tales from the Crypt did. Same thing Twilight Zone did. That's why it's what I do here. So yeah, big fan of Elvira, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Crypt, shows like that. Huge. Freddy's Nightmares, even the old Friday the 13th, the series. No, it had nothing to do with Jason. But that show really wasn't half bad. If it was called something else and didn't have Friday the 13th in the title, and you're expecting, when you see Friday the 13th in that font, and then you don't get it, obviously you're disappointed. But if they just would have called it like Cursed Tales of the Antique Shop or something like that, it would have been a fantastic show. So I mean, it was a good show. So a big fan of that kind of stuff. No, I didn't read Elvira for the stories. I watched Elvira for the movies that she would be showing or something like that were on TV. Just like USA Up All Night, though that didn't usually have that creepy feel to it. But Rhonda Cher, same thing. Great intermittent with, I was watching Friday the 13th Part 7 or Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, and then in between shows there's Rhonda Cher or Gilbert Godfrey, and they're cracking jokes and there's comedy in between, and it added entertainment. Just the levity to what you're watching was just a lot of fun. So I hope I bring that here. I hope when you guys watch the premieres that I do kind of bring that back to the table. That is what I'm trying to do, that you get that, hey, this set time on this set day every single week, we can expect this. And I really want to bring that back into your lives because I want that back in my life. So I hope that you feel like that kind of show has made a bit of a return. With that, I think I am going to go ahead, respond to a few comments, and then close out the stream here pretty quick. So yeah, Malcolm Luther agrees with you, honey, that 13 Ghosts is the bomb. He liked it. See, I could not get into that. I'm sorry. If I wrote it, I feel I could have done better. And I'm not saying I'm the greatest writer or anything, but I just feel like I could have done better. Same thing with maybe some of M. Night Shyamalan's work. I think some of that could be a little bit better too. He does the good twist thing, but I do the double twist thing better, I think. Terrifier? I mean, it's not on Netflix anymore. You could download it or maybe rent it off of YouTube for like $2.99. It's good. I'd recommend it. And see, now I'm getting all nasally because my cold's taking back over. Glad this is happening now. Sure, FGS, not a problem. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for enjoying the vid. And that's awesome, Laura. I'm glad you're reliving all those old shows. I know I go back, I do the same thing. So real cool. You and I definitely got some things in common for sure. But all right, I think I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna head out. I really appreciate you guys showing up, especially for everybody that's still here, stuck it out with me. That's really great. Thank you for listening to every ridiculous thing that I had to say. Thank you for sitting through all my mess ups. I hope you really enjoyed Flutters. I will catch you tomorrow at the premiere, and I will catch you at the end of next month at the next live stream. So, once again, thanks for being here. This is this is Sociopathic from Cleaving Thought from Bone, signing out. See you next time.